few moments. And when you're ready, you might close your eyes and begin to feel the space that you inhabit. Just feeling your body, whatever it is you're sitting on. Feel the air on your skin if you're indoors or outdoors, just noticing the temperature of the air. Noticing any smells or sounds. Really using the senses to orient you to the space that you're in. You might even feel or sense the light coming through the eyelids if your eyes are closed. Using the senses to help you arrive with all of your presence and awareness. And as your senses help you to anchor, to come into the moment, we will practice Ayeka, the question of where are you? And we'll explore where we are in a few areas. Starting with the physical body, noticing any places in your body that are perhaps tense, or you might be having some sensation. Also noticing places that are soft or relaxed. Scanning your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your fingers and your toes, just noticing anything that is so for you in this moment with your body. Even drawing attention to the digestive system and the organs, just noticing if there's anything going on in those areas. And then checking in with the quality of your mind. So bringing attention to that space of your mind, your brain, your thinking, and without getting attached to any particular thought pattern, just noticing how the mind is today. Is it full? Is it racing? Is it calm? What are the general patterns of thinking? Are you future thinking, past thinking? Or are you able to be right here in the moment? Dropping the attention down now into your emotional body, the heart center, or maybe places where you feel your emotions. Sometimes those are other places in the body. And noticing any predominant feelings, emotions that are present for you now. And staying with the feeling without attaching the story of why to the feeling. When you notice the feeling, are there sensations that go with it? Yeah, honoring whatever and however anything that's going on for you on all those levels. Start to bring your attention now to conscious breath. So taking a breath in through the nose and filling up the lungs, and letting that breath out however you want to, through the nose or through the mouth with a sigh. Take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. And as the breath helps to guide you continually to the present moment, I'm going to invite you to use your breath to help create some imagery as you connect to your sits bones and your hips, maybe even to the buttocks and the legs. With every exhale, feel as if you could direct that breath, that exhale, down into the lower body. So that as you release the air, the lower body gets heavier. Full breaths in, and as you exhale, bringing weight to the lower body till it feels heavy and grounded. Noticing the sensations in the lower body now, maybe temperature of your body, maybe tingling or heat. And imagine that you could grow some energetic roots from your lower body that just go down into, through the mat, down into the floor, into the earth. Just with every exhale, growing those roots a little deeper and a little deeper. Creating an anchor to something solid. Every exhale helping you to ground. Good. And today, throughout our practice and throughout the rest of the day, the rest of the week, if you begin to feel like your attention is moving up into the upper body, creating any tension or anxiety, if the mind gets frenetic or really fragmented, focus on the breath, focus on exhaling and drawing all of your attention into the lower body. So when you're seated, even when you're standing, feeling your thighs, your knees, your feet. Bring your attention to below the waist to create that anchored sensation, that anchored experience. We're going to use that today through our yoga practice as well. So from your seated position, if you're on a block, you can remove the block with the legs crossed. Bring the right shin out in front and start to walk your fingertips forward just till you feel an outer hip stretch, and engage the belly, and then start to walk the hands back toward you. So just on your own, inhaling as you walk the hands forward, coming to your edge, and then walking the hands back. Do that a few more times. Keep the breath moving with the body. This time as you come out, go as far as you can comfortably without letting the sits bones kind of pop up off the floor. So keep rooting down with your sits bones. Pause when you get to your edge. Breathe. You might even flex that right foot a bit. And then walk your hands over to the left. When you walk your hands over to the left, you'll look for a stretch in that lower back on the right side and keep rooting down through the right sits bone. Breathe. Good. Pull the navel in and start to walk your hands over to the right side. Connecting to the lower back on that left side, rooting down into the left sits bone and hip. Big breath. Good. Walk your hands to the center and then start to keep walking them over to your left side until this right arm just traces the floor, comes up and over, and then reach diagonally with your left arm, and then up and over, and reach diagonally with the right arm. Go as far as you can, and then reach the arm up and over. So really opening up the chest and the heart. Just practice this movement with breath. Good. Now when the hands are back to center, reach with both of them and then lift them up. Open them out to the sides. Big breath. Good. Bring the hands to the heart. Reach up. Inhale. Exhale. Open the heart. Open the chest. Bring those palms together. Inhale. Reach up. Exhale. Palms are open. Fingers spread wide, nice and slow. Start to draw the elbows back behind you. You're activating those muscles between the shoulder blades. Nice and slow. Good. Let your hands rest on your lap. Bring your right ear to your right shoulder. And then tilt your head back like you're tipping water out of your right ear. And then start to bring the chin forward and trace your collarbone with your chin until your left ear is over your left shoulder. And then tip the head back just a little bit. And do this 2 more times, just nice and slow. So breathing with the movement. So the mind follows the body follows the breath. So we slow everything down. The next time your left ear is over your left shoulder, just turn your head to look down on the left side. Just turn, look down and breathe. Good. Now start to trace your collarbones all the way around to the right shoulder. And then turn your head and look down at your mat or towards your shoulder and breathe. Good. Roll the chin toward the chest again and then look up. Okay. So next what I'll have you do is come onto your back. Make sure that you have your strap handy. We may use it. I'm not sure yet. So coming onto your back with your knees bent, bring your hands to your frontal hip bones and just start with a couple of pelvic tilts. So just tilting the pelvis forward and back, breathing in as you create an arch and breathing out as you press your lower back into the floor. And noticing how the lower back feels, how the hips feel this morning. Is there a movement that's easier or more natural feeling? Good. Now bring your feet close to your butt and your legs are about hip width apart or 2 fists width apart, and the feet and knees are lined up together. And we'll just move through a couple of dynamic bridges. So start to press into your feet and lift your hips off the floor. Notice if your knees wanted to come out to the sides. Keep the inner thighs engaged so that they're moving toward each other. Good. And then lower down. With your breath, pressing into your feet, lifting up your hips. Big breath at the top. Lower down. Let's do another one. Nice high bridge, whatever feels good for you today. Pausing, engaging the inner thighs, and then lowering down. Good. Once your hips are down, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Good. Let's bring the feet back to the mat. The knees are still bent, but this time I'm going to have you walk your feet away from each other so they go to the outer edges of your mat, but your knees can knock in toward each other. So you've got this leaning, knees leaning in. And bring your arms overhead if you're able to, if your shoulders let you do that. Breathe. And then start to let your knees drop to the left, but don't let your feet will come up off of the mat, but they're not going to move from their place. So the knees drop to the left, and you'll get a stretch in the psoas and side abdomen area on the right. Breathe. Slowly bring the knees back up. The feet stay where they were to the outer edges of your mat, and then start to drop the knees over to the right. And take a breath. You can always move your arms to a T position if that feels better for you. Go from side to side. As the knee comes down, the knees come down to the left, I want you to press your right knee a little bit more toward the floor, so creating lots of length in that stretch. It really feels good to reach up overhead if it's available to you. And then switch over to the other side again. Good. Come back to center. So your knees are wide. Go ahead and hug the knees in again. This time the legs are apart. And do some ankle rotations. Wake up those feet. Good. Let's go ahead and use our strap if you have one. Bring your feet back to the floor and bring your strap around your left foot. So we'll make sure the arms are relaxed on the floor. So elbows are on the floor so the chest can stay wide and open. And flex your left foot quite a bit. So reach for the sky with your heel and open up the hamstring. And you're just going to move from side to side with the leg just a few inches from side to side, nice and slow. Getting into the attachment site of the hamstrings. Good. Come to center and then do your internal and external rotation. So the whole leg bone complex, all those bones, they're going to turn at the same time inward and outward. You'll see the movement in your foot. Good. We're just waking up those deep hip muscles. Good. And now take the straps in your right hand and bring your, in your left hand, and then bring your right hand to your right hip so that you can keep as a reminder not to let that hip roll up as you start to bring your leg out to the side. So left leg is opening up, getting into that inner thigh. We're going to do some standing poses where we want to have that warmed up. Pull your belly in and bring the leg back up. Take a breath and then come back out again. Do this a few times on your own, taking your movement to your edge of your range of motion without letting your right hip roll up off the floor. Nice and slow. As you come up, you might even cross the body just a little bit so you get a little outer hip stretch. Good. Last time. When your leg is back at center, go ahead and release the strap and take your figure 4 stretch on this side. So the left ankle comes over the right knee or thigh, and then hold onto the back of that right leg and just get into that outer hip. I'm finding all sorts of things in my pockets. I keep emptying them. Here's some dog treats. You never find me without dog treats. That's why my dog loves me so much. Flex your feet and feel that outer hip get a nice stretch. Good, and release. Let's switch over to the other side. Bring the strap around the bottom of the right foot. Keeping the hands somewhat relaxed as you hold the strap, it's helpful to wrap the strap around your hands. Flex your foot. Feel the hamstring, feel the back of the leg, how it feels right now. And then move the leg from side to side, just a few inches. You might notice right away the spots that are tighter. And then come to center, pause, and turn the leg inward and outward like a key turning in a keyhole. And warm up the hips. Keep your foot flexed. Now take the straps in your right hand. Left hand comes to the left front hip and start to open your leg out to the side. And bring it back up. And do this a few times. I like to inhale as it comes out and exhale so that it reminds me to activate my abs as I bring the leg back up. See what works for you. Start to cross the leg over the body a little bit with each turn. Last time. Come back to center, release the strap, and take a figure 4 stretch on this side. Notice if your hips want to roll right up off the floor, if your whole butt and hips want to come up, and see if you can activate your legs as if you're pressing your legs away from you, creating some length in the spine. When you do that, it might feel like your legs then are out of reach, so just intend to lengthen the spine, to drop that tailbone down a little bit more toward the floor so that we keep the stretch in the hip and not so much in the lower lumbar area. Flexing the feet, take a few breaths. Good. Go ahead and release. Hug your knees in. Bring your feet to the floor and just lift your hips and shift them to the right a couple of inches and let your knees fall to the left. So taking a nice gentle twist here. Breathing. Bring the knees back to center, feet on the floor, shift your hips over to the left a few inches, and then let the knees drop to the right. Good, bring your knees back to center, straighten out your hips, find a way to lie down that feels comfortable for you. So maybe some of you will have your knees still bent, or you might want to stretch out. We're just going to take a moment here just to integrate those warm-ups. And I'm going to read a little something for you. It's a translation of Adon Olam. And if you're not religious. If you're not a religious Jew, you can replace the word God with anything that works for you, with universe or infinite power or anything that resonates for you as a source of strength. You are our eternal God who reigned before any being had been created. When all was done according to your will, then you were called ruler. After all ceases to be, you alone will rule in majesty. You have been, are yet, and will be in glory. And you are one. None other can compare to or consort with you. You are without beginning, without end. To you belong power and dominion. And you are my God, my living Redeemer, my rock in times of trouble and distress. You are my standard bearer and my refuge, my benefactor when I call on you. Into your hands I entrust my spirit, when I sleep and when I wake, and with my spirit my body also. Adonai is with me, and I shall not fear. So as you're laying here in this body, safe in this moment, in your body, in your breath, I invite you to take a moment to bring to mind and to heart the things in your life that are your standard bearer and your refuge. What is your rock? To what do you turn for stability and grounding and strength? To whom do you entrust your spirit? And to what grounding forces or presence do you turn to when you are feeling fear? When you're ready, I'm going to have you roll to your side and just flip over onto your belly. And we'll work on these adrenals and the strength of the back. So bring your legs behind you, flat on the floor, tops of the feet on the floor. And we'll warm up with a couple of baby cobras. So bringing those palms to the floor next to the ribs, shoulders slide down the back, elbows glue into the rib cage, pull your belly in, and squeeze your thighs and start to just levitate the head and chest up off the floor. Squeeze the shoulders together like you're holding on to something. You're trying to keep something between those angel wings of yours. And breathe and lower down. We'll do this 2 more times, always engaging the belly before you rise up. You can have a little bit of weight in your hands if you need to, or you can try hovering your hands off of the mat, lowering down when you're ready. Last one, lifting, lengthening the neck, and lower down. Good. Bend your knees, wave your legs from side to side, crisscross the ankles if you'd like. And then press into your hands and rise up as much as you can with a flat back and take a wide leg child's pose. Hips settle toward the feet, arms reach out, and breathe. What are the things in your life that give you a sense of grounding and safety? What practices have you done in the past or do you do now that put you back in touch with like the unchanging presence of strength, the unshakable quality of resilience? Come on up to all fours. We're going to thread the needle here. So wrists are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Let's just scoop that left arm under the right, lay the head on the floor, reach the right arm over the head, and breathe. You're getting a little rotation in the upper thoracic spine. Pull the navel in. Press your left arm into the floor a little bit more to create a bit more stretch in that upper body. Big breath. Good. Come on back to center and take your time as you change over to the other side. Use your left hand to press you back up. Take a few cat-cows to just warm up the whole spine. Good. We're going to use our blocks right now. So take both of them just as a little extra support on the high setting. And we'll bring the right foot forward till your knee is over your ankle. It can be behind as well. And we're just going to rock into this stretch. So keep the belly engaged as you press down into a lunge. And then shift your hips back and lift the toes. Get into the hamstring. On your own, really slow, coming into your lunge as deeply as you can, feeling all those hip muscles stretching, the groin area, the psoas, and then moving it into the posterior chain of the body, the back of the legs, the calves, or in this case, the one calf, and go forward and back, keeping the core pulled in and the shoulders down away from the ears. In fact, that is your assignment, is to, as many times as you can today and throughout the week, is to just check in with your shoulders and see where they are residing. Are you wearing them as earrings? Are they up in your ears? Could they drop down a little bit more? Good. Let's do one more of this dance with the hip. Yes. And then change over. I leave my blocks where they are, but you can bring them with you. Whatever works. You can just have them as little extensions of your arms. How does the pace of your movement change if you match it to your breath? If the whole inhale is a lean or a lunge, and the whole exhale is the hamstring stretch. We'll do one more. Good. Okay, so we'll keep one block at least. I'm going to bring it under my left hand and have it on the side here. So I'm facing front right now. I'm going to bring the right leg out to the side, and I'm using the block for support. If your arm is long enough and you prefer to have your hand on the floor, you can do that. I just like to stay up a little bit. So your right toes are pointed forward, belly's engaged. You're going to lift the leg and then come back. Lift the leg. You're going to feel your abdominals are working here. It's a lot of work on the hip. And release. Lift, pause, and release. Okay, this is an option. Maybe you lift the leg, trying to bring that leg up to equal the hip, so maybe it's not lower than the hip, maybe it's right at the hip. And then if that feels okay, roll your chest forward, and then lift your right arm. These are all just options for fun and to, challenge you. Good, and lower it down. Relax. Round your back. And we'll change to the other side. So you block, you can hold it any height that works for you. So hips face forward, and then left leg comes out. Toes are facing forward as well. Belly, really important to engage the belly. And then lean, just a little lean and a lift of the left leg. Right away, you'll feel the obliques working, and then lower. And lift, and you're tilting. Good, lower. Again, lift. Maybe you hold it this time. Maybe your left arm will come up as your heart reaches forward. A little modified Ardha Chandrasana pose. We're going to try this standing in a little while. Okay, good. Release your block. Just take a child's pose, this time with a narrow knees close together. All right, we are going to come to standing, and we're going to give our feet some love. So make sure you have your massage balls handy. So start with our right foot, just give it some massage. Keep breathing. Pressing down gently any places that feel tender. Give some extra attention to the space at the ball of the foot where the toes are all the bigger bones of the toes are. And see if you can move the ball from side to side and create some broadening across the foot. Good. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other side. Well, before you do though, we haven't done this in a while, just take a moment to stand with your feet facing forward. Maybe your eyes will close, and just noticing the difference between the side you just massaged and the side you have yet to work with. Can you feel places in the foot that make a better connection to your mat? And from that better connection, can you sense the improved connection in the leg all the way up to the hip? Okay, so now we'll switch over to the left and do the same thing on this side. Remember to keep the body soft and relaxed as you do this. The breath flowing. Extra attention on the upper part of the foot, just opening up the bones and muscles, spreading. Think of them spreading out kind of like a duck's foot or a goose's foot, that like webbed, wide foot. Good. Okay, so go ahead and move the ball off of the mat. Standing again, just taking a moment to compare sides. And now we'll open up the stance nice and wide with a little bit of a bend in the knees. We're going to do wood chopper. So for wood chopper, we clasp the hands, and when we reach up, we breathe in through the nose, nice full breath, and as we exhale, we let out a ha from the diaphragm. So not so much from like the throat voice. We want the voice to come from our power center, from the diaphragm, like this, ha! And we just cut through the wood, or whatever it is we were going to cut through in our lives. And we do this a few times. Ha! Two more. Good. Bring your feet back under you. Just take a moment. Notice your energy. Notice your heartbeat. Good. So let's take a couple of standing poses. So I'll have my chair next to me just in case, but we'll take a warrior two pose. So bring your right foot out. That's your leading leg for now. And bend the right knee and line your front heel up with your back arch. So just turning the leg in and bend the knee as much as you can comfortably. Hold the navel in. Reach those arms out and look over the right arm. Finding your warrior two pose. Now bring your attention to your feet and see if you can create a sense of grounding in your feet. Let the feet get heavier. If you're gripping the mat, soften the feet, but imagine them getting a little softer, wider, rooting into the floor. And from those grounded feet, feel that sensation moving up through your legs, into your hips, almost like it's just traveling up, like a lava. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Good. So staying with this nice grounded sensation in the lower body, we're going to pivot the arm. So the right arm comes down inside the right knee, the left arm comes up. Remember that rotation of the spine we did earlier? We open the chest. You can do that now. You could also reach your upper arm over to get a nice side body stretch. Breathe. And feel the heat building in that quadricep of the front leg. Good. Now get your arms back up. Straighten your leg, really just for a little break. Because we're going to practice coming into Ardha Chandrasana. So this is where the chair is handy. If you don't want to use a chair and you want to come down lower, this is where a block would be good. So it's important to keep the toes pointed the same direction. So point them out to the side and then bend the knee. You can reach for your block. What you could do is start with two hands on the chair and lift the leg. That's a nice easy way to get into it. And then when you're feeling ready and the core is engaged, maybe you lift one hand to the left hip and start to roll the chest open. It's very challenging. It's okay to fall out of it. It's okay to question your stability. Squeeze the standing leg. If you're feeling stable at this point, you might try to lift your arm. Beautiful. Whatever you're doing is perfect as long as you're breathing. And then start to bend that front leg and see if you can just step back and relax. Shake that standing leg out. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side. First, taking our warrior two pose so that left knee is bent, back leg is turned in just a little. Make sure that front knee is not caving in. We want it pressing away toward the little toes. When your arms are up and you're gazing over your left arm, sense those hips. Is your right hip hiking up into the rib cage? If it is, see if you can level your hips. You might even touch your hips. Take a little break and touch your hip bones. Make sure that you've leveled them. Once again, feeling the connection of your feet, the groundedness of your feet. When you're grounded and rooted, then you can access your strength, the strength of your legs. We can't access our strength if we don't have the grounding and the connection. Good. Side angle pose. Bring your left arm inside your left leg. Reach your right arm up. Notice if you forgot your back leg. If you did, reactivate the whole leg. You're connecting your back foot to the mat. Keeping the arm up or reaching over. Start to flow the arms back. Straighten the front knee if you need to for a little break. And then we're going to practice coming into our half moon pose. So again, you can make sure your left toes are pointed straight to the chair, pointing forward. It's very common for the toes to want to pigeon toe. So see if you can keep that alignment, and then holding onto the chair, pull the belly and lift the leg. And then when you feel stable there, maybe hand to the hip, rotating. Whoop, see, chest forward. Good, squeeze the standing leg. Flex the right foot. Really strong here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Either keeping the hand on the hip or maybe lifting it up. Breath. And bend that front knee and release. Good. Go ahead and take your hands on your hips and do some big circles to release any tension in the back. Really good job. Okay, we're gonna open up the legs nice and wide. Toes are pointed forward. You might use a block for this. We're coming into our forward fold here. Come halfway down, maybe a block or fingertips on the floor. Flat back, belly pulled in. So here we are sideways. I'm going to go sideways. Got flat back. Want to avoid rounding. If you're reaching for the ground and rounding, then definitely use blocks. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Again, open the heart. Just reveal your heart. Good. Just reveal your heart. It's so easy, right? Just open your heart. Be tender and open and vulnerable. It's no big deal. Lift your arm. Nice rotated prasarita, padottanasana. Pull the navel in. Good, strong legs. And bring that hand down and then come to the other side. You can pause at any point. If you want to keep your hand on your hip and not lift your arm, that's totally fine. One more breath. Good, bring the hand down. Now let yourself just fold over. Fold over the body. Breathe. So forward folds are very calming to the nervous system. You know, bringing the blood to the brain. I like to shift from side to side, bend one knee and shift over and then the other. Just kind of a nice way to massage the hips. Good, engage your belly and start to press into your hands to come to a flat back again, and then heel toe your feet in a few times so you can get your hands on your hips and rise up nice and slow. Great. Okay. We're going to come to our seats. You can move your chair out of the way unless you're planning to use it for Shavasana. Come to your seats and then make your way onto your back. We'll do legs up today, so bring your block under your hips. in a comfortable position, and then when you're ready, just lifting one leg at a time up. Keep the feet over your head so your abdominals aren't working. And take some breaths here. Taking 3 more breaths. And then when you're done with those breaths, just bending the knees first and then releasing 1 foot at a time back to the floor. Remove your block and go ahead and take a final twist. So to whatever side you want to start with. You can take another final twist, take a few breaths on either side. And anything else that your body might need to prepare you for your resting Shavasana, your integration time. When you hear the sound of the bell, let that be an invitation to focus on your exhale and releasing anything in the body that could release. Finding stillness, finding grounding in the back of your body, feeling held by the earth, feeling held by gravity. Releasing the muscles of the face. Resting deeply. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra le'ed nasa v'hafso kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichod hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh Vehu yeh betifara vehu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshilo lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit velo haoz vehamisra vehu eli vechai goali vetzur chevli ve'etzara Vehu nisi umanos li menat kosi beyom ekra beyado afki ruchi be'et ishan ve'aira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo yira. Into your hands I entrust my spirit when I sleep and when I wake, and with my spirit and my body also. Adonai is with me, and I shall not fear. Take a few deep breaths, and just as you began this time, this practice time, reorienting yourself to the space that you're in. Feeling the earth beneath you, feeling the air on your skin, noticing sounds, smells, light. And as you awaken to your surroundings, take your time rising up to a seated position. And as you rise up, let your hands rest on your lap. For this closing prayer today, I would like to request something extra special. I would like, if you would participate, you don't have to, but if you'd like to participate, I would invite you to help send your fellow practitioners, your fellow congregants, a priestly blessing, so we can all just surround each other with all the good that we can. So just in English for this, so I'm going to bring a hand to my heart and really connect to my deepest hope and prayers for you and for all of us. And then I'm bringing my other hand out to face you. May we send this blessing to each other and to the world. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. Amen. May we all find peace. May we all anchor and ground into those things that help us feel as strong as we possibly can in every moment. Thank you all for joining me for class today.